Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, welcome to another episode of freaking Our Week in Review. My name is freaking Taylor, the freaking Sandman Lofton, and with me, as always, is freaking Sandy, the Sandman freaking Lofton, all the way from freaking Seattle, New York, Seattle freaking Washington, and joining us also via freaking Satellite, New York, we have freaking Tadia freaking Risher, straight from a freaking basement of a freaking sex dungeon location, undis freaking closed. Gentlemen, start your engines. This is freaking Our Week in Review. Gentlemen, weakers, tweakers, thrill freaking seekers, what is going on with you? How do you do? Freaking Sandy the Sandman Farkas is dating another freaking midget, the first midget he has ever freaking fornicated with, and geez Louise, down on my knees, how freaking horny are you, and what are you doing? What's going on?
Well, Satellite, this is so basically what's been going on is, I am not freaking horny because freaking midgets do not freaking make me horny, but I am having freaking sex with one on a fairly consistent basis, and things are going rather freaking smoothly, if I do say so my freaking self.
Yeah, so freaking Tadia Risher, you have freaking cancer. You may or may not live through the end of the freaking week. Geez Louise, down on my freaking knees. How are you doing? And how is the freaking sex dungeon? And how freaking horny are you?
Sex dungeon is great. I've never been hornier. Thank you so much for asking. Good news, bad news on that front, though. I do definitely still have cancer. Been trying to get my friggin' treatment off the ground here, but I got a little bone to pick with Doug Jordan because he was supposed to send me money so I could pay this woman to start treating this freaking cancer. And not only am I gonna die soon, almost definitely, but I might get. They're starting to get really mad at me here.
So you haven't paid anybody. Doug Jordan swept off his feet to freaking the sunny freaking Italy with his freaking boyfriend and sex-addicted love affair, Sunjay. And geez Louise, down on my knees, those boys are probably having a grand old time. I have a theory that they didn't even make it to freaking Italy, that they actually went to freaking Fire freaking Island. But nonetheless, the funds have not come in for you to stay in your sex dungeon, which for weakers and tweakers out there who don't know, freaking Tadia Risher has found the cure for cancer. Yes, weakers, tweakers, it's all coming out on the freaking air right now. Tadia Risher, geez Louise, down on my knees, will be cancer free if he can continue to stay in the sex dungeon and basically utilize their freaking services.
Yeah, and thank you again so much for bringing that up, because if Doug Jordan would just step up, send me the money that he promised me last week, that would be great. And honestly, shame on him, by the way. I can't, we all wish we could be around fornicating in Italy with our lovers, but for him not to do the show and not pay me my money is just really disappointing.
Well, here's the thing. And remind me again, real quick. Who is this? Who are we freaking speaking with?
This is freaking Tadia freaking Risher. He has been on the show over a freaking year by now, and he started out as an intern. Now he's a co-host of the freaking show.
All right, whatever. But listen, I think your situation is going to get severely worse because you will not be receiving that freaking money because I'm fairly certain the freaking Doug Jordan is freaking dead himself because that freaking plane probably went freaking down.
Yeah, for weakers and tweakers out there, planes crash all the freaking time. That's why it is so freaking dangerous to freaking travel, and the safest people, yes, you guessed it, stay here on freaking Earth, and geez Louise, down on my knees, I guess I can only say that I'd be happy that he would have Sunjay close to him, so freaking close, most likely on his freaking lap, while he sits there rock freaking hard, riding that freaking turbulence with his boyfriend atop his lap, getting harder and harder as the bumps get rougher and freaking rougher, and eventually he explodes in his trousers as the plane explodes into the freaking ocean, Atlantic freaking ocean, that is.
Yeah, can you freaking imagine the two of those guys freaking tearing into each other when the freaking plane, when those freaking oxygen masks freaking plummeted down from the freaking ceiling.
And that freaking lady in white freaking gloves sitting right next to him, watching him go freaking at it. One hand in Sunjay, another hand in his freaking trousers. Geez Louise, down on my knees. It'd be a sight to freaking seize.
They freaking rode that turbulence freaking straight to freaking heaven and then straight to freaking hell.
If they survive the plane crash, which is, there's no doubt that they will not survive the plane crash, but they should absolutely make a pornographic film of it. I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and geez Louise, Weakers, Tweakers, keep your ears, eyes peeled for any pornos, actually, honestly, starring Soonjae and freaking Doug Jordan. I'm sure they are forth freaking coming. Weakers,
Wait a minute. Well, Mark, you guys are saying that you both would watch a freaking porno of Doug Jordan and Soonjae?
well, I mean, we'd have to freaking talk about it on the show. I couldn't talk about it without freaking seeing it first. I would never freaking review a freaking movie that I haven't already freaking seen. Weakers, Tweakers, I try to bring the best content that is possible to the freaking show every freaking week, and it would be imperative that I watch the freaking movie, geez Louise, down on my knees, and I might even try to find a freaking partner to watch it with. Freaking hilarious freaking porno.
And I would watch any pornography ever put in front of me. It doesn't matter what it is, who's in it. I will watch it.
By the way, Weakers, Tweakers, Thrill Seekers, this is WAYO LP freaking Rochester, worst radio station in the history of the world, but it is also a very accepting radio station and accepting of all type of freaking porno, gay porno, straight porno, that third type of porno that, geez Louise, down on my knees shouldn't be mentioned, and because we can't freaking define it, but is totally and completely acceptable to the brass and the Stooges and me here at Our Week in Review. So, Weakers, Tweakers, we also have a great freaking show for you. We have a big, long freaking docket full of news and discussings. We got a couple of segments bookended at the front and the back. Geez Louise, down on my knees. It's going to be a freaking riot. Now, before we move on, I wanted to talk more to Sandy about his lady friend and what he knows about her. I did a little research on the freaking computer, and geez Louise, I can tell you that there is a nice little website. It's called freaking Life Hacks. I can't tell you to go to it, but if you're so willing, by all freaking means, check it out. Now, Life Hacks has a questionnaire for people based on how asking you people how well they know their freaking spouses. So we want to do a little freaking segment about getting to know the Sandman Farkas's freaking sweet little freaking lady friend, tiny little freaking half-size human being person, so freaking small she fit right into your freaking pocket, and if you're not careful, you might sit on her and crush her. Geez Louise, down on my knees. This segment is called How Well Do You Know Your Freaking Lady Friend? Questions provided by freaking Life Hacks. So I'm going to go ahead and ask the first freaking question. Sandy the Sandman Farkas, what are her freaking secret skills?
Well, pretty good at certain freaking sexual. I mostly know her in a freaking sexual freaking capacity, because I'm pretty sure we don't freaking speak the same language. But she's great at sucking, drinking, finger play, hole play, and she's and I guess she must be good. She's good at handing people stuff. She's a freaking dentist assistant. I just freaking figured that out. She sits there in a little freaking chair and hands little teeny tiny tools to what I can only assume is a freaking another dentist, and they freaking scrape teeth, and I guess I got a whole freaking dentist office. I don't know. Sounds freaking hilarious to me.
See, in my mind, I figured what she would be doing would be much like what freaking R2-D2 was doing when he was under the spell of freaking Jabba the freaking Hutt. He was basically a walking freaking drink tray, and I imagine that maybe she would be a walking freaking utensils tray for little scrapers and little tiny freaking drill pieces and freaking mouthwash and that sort of thing. They just put a little hat on top of her head that's got a metal little tray on it, and she walks around and serves the freaking dentist his freaking you freaking utensils.
Yeah, that problem. I'm almost certain that is how it works.
Okay, Tady Risher, why don't you go ahead and ask the second question on the freaking docket?
Sure. And Sandy, by the way, your midget lady friend sounds sexy as hell, so congratulations. What was her favorite childhood toy?
Jeez Louise. Freaking. Good. Freaking stilts. Freaking. I don't know. a tall stool that she could freaking climb up on, stand up on top of it, make eye contact with freaking normal, regular freaking people. I don't know.
Well, now that she's all full freaking grown, what is her freaking favorite toy to play with freaking now?
You're freaking talking to it. Freaking Sandy, freaking Sandman Fargus. That sweet little freaking lady's favorite freaking toy. And she freaking climbs all over me. It's not freaking hard because I'm not much bigger than her. But she freaking climbs me like a freaking small little freaking apple tree, and she gets freaking lost in it. I'll tell you that much. Freaking picking apples.
That's freaking hilarious.
My freaking apples with her freaking teeth, with her freaking mouth. She freaking sucked my freaking apples all freaking day long.
That's and I'm so freaking proud of you, and I'm so freaking jealous of you, and that's freaking hilarious. What was the best gift she has ever given to someone else?
Well, freaking glad you freaking asked. There was one time, I think it was about a freaking week ago. I have freaking roommates, by the way, and I freaking kept them up until I don't know if I freaking mentioned this. I have freaking 4 freaking roommates nowadays, and we freaking kept them up until the freaking break of dawn, freaking screaming and freaking moaning and I was freaking doing the Lord's work. I tell you that freaking much. Freaking Lord, forgive me. Jesus Louise down on my freaking knees. Lord, freaking forgive me.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your freaking question.
It doesn't. Tadia Risher, go for the question number 4.
Sure. What was the most embarrassing thing that happened to her in school?
What kind of question is that? She's freaking
So just all of it.
Every single, the whole freaking thing, the whole freaking process, beginning to end, must have been freaking torture.
So the appropriate answer to that question is just the fact that she stopped growing.
Yeah. The fact that she's freaking.
Sounds like she never started growing.
Yeah, sausage fingers probably would also appropriately answer that freaking question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, she started growing. She got to about a size of about maybe a 4 or 5 year old. Then freaking stop.
Yeah.
Sure.
But the fingers kept getting fatter, so her fingers are getting fatter and fatter, so she's still growing a little bit. Just it's just one of those things, when people say, oh yeah, she's growing in all the right places, she's growing in all the freaking wrong places.
So mostly just the freaking fingers.
It's just the freaking fingers, and yeah, just her fingers, and I guess her freaking ears are pretty freaking huge too.
That's funny. Right before freaking Doug Jordan left, he mentioned to me that he was hoping to have larger fingers, and I said, well, what do you need that for? And then he looked at me, he winked, he said, for Sanjay. I swear to freaking God, he said that too.
Sounds just like him.
Yeah, it freaking happened.
When she was little, what did she want to be when she grew up?
Well, she freaking didn't grow up. And she's still freaking little. So that's a freaking non-question. Right there. Because when she was little, she is little, and what did she want when she grew up? Freaking never happened. So next freaking question.
Great answer. What was her worst job?
Freaking probably anything that would require operating freaking heavy machinery, driving a freaking bus, driving a freaking car.
She never belonged to a freaking circus or was in a freak show. Maybe traveled around with the freaking state fair, anything like that.
That's a good question. I'll freaking ask her tonight. I'm gonna ask her. Were you ever in a freaking circus?
Yeah, you just bring up a Google image of of a freaking circus or a state fair and just say you. Certain point. Which social game was her favorite while growing up?
I
imagine freaking hide and seek because she's so freaking small.
Hide and go seek, freaking hide and freaking teeny tiny little places. Yeah.
I bet if she curled up, she'd look just like a freaking potato bug, just rolling around, freaking out, no freaking reason, and no place to freaking go, but into a circle, into her own self.
Maybe she liked to build pillow forts when she was younger, because I imagine it would have been just like a normal house for her.
Yeah,
kind of like a hobbit hole. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I did ask her to get inside of a freaking luggage, freaking luggage suitcase. So it was pretty much like how you suggested the freaking circus thing. I pointed at the luggage and I said, "You," and she said, "What?" And I said, "You." And I tried to get her to go in there. She didn't freaking do it. So.
That's freaking hilarious. Tidia?
Sure. Who is her best friend?
I'd be willing to bet freaking money she doesn't freaking have any friends.
Yeah.
So that would probably be you then.
Oh, jeez Louise, freaking down on my knees. I gotta tell you, that's one freaking title I've never wanted to have. Basically, for freaking anybody. I've never wanted to be anybody's freaking best friend ever in my freaking life, and definitely not freaking hers.
Sure.
Well, that's also because you're my freaking best friend, so you're not gonna be her freaking best friend. Would she like to change something about you?
Yeah, she probably. I don't think she likes the fact I freaking drink so freaking much, but easy fix. I told her I stopped, and I freaking didn't freaking drunk right now. So freaking problem solved.
And Tadia with the last one.
If she could jump into a pool full of something, what would it be?
I don't think she should be getting into any freaking pool. I don't think she'd freaking sink to the bottom of the pool like a freaking stone, freaking drown.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I could see that. I maybe jump into a pool of another bunch of freaking little tiny freaking midgets, and they could help her climb to the freaking top. I'll stand atop each other and make a freaking midget ladder. And I'm pretty sure I went to when I was a kid. I saw that at the freaking circus. Weakers, tweakers, that concludes How Well Do You Know Your Lady Friend? But we have a great freaking show for you. But before we move on to our week's news and discussions, I want to get down to brass tacks here, and I want to tell a little tale, a little something about something that happened to me last freaking week. So I was out freaking rummaging around, as I freaking often do in my vast free freaking time. And during this freaking time, I stumbled upon the freaking Volunteers of a freaking America. And what did I freaking find there? I found a freaking box, a freaking cardboard freaking box, and it was filled with freaking clothing. And I said, geez, little freaking wheeze, eureka, my freaking day has come, my freaking dream has come true, freaking more freaking presents are placed about for me to freaking find and discover more treasure. And geez Louise, I tore that thing freaking open, and what did I find in there? Among other freaking used clothing, I found basically a freaking uniform, an officer's freaking uniform, a military freaking officer's uniform. And if weakers, tweakers, if you could see me for right freaking now, I am head to toe complete in the military officer's uniform that I freaking found. It fits like a freaking glove. This guy must have been a big fella. And geez Louise, I freaking love it. I'm never freaking taking it off again. I look basically like freaking Jack freaking Nicholson in freaking that in that freaking movie where he freaking yells at freaking Tom freaking Cruise. And I'm never freaking taking it off. And ever since I put this freaking thing on, it's like putting on a brand new suit. People have been freaking treating me differently. People have been coming up to me, shaking my freaking hand. I'll get onto the freaking bus. 2 seats will clear so that I can sit down comfortably in one. I'll be getting my groceries, and people will say, "Oh, can I take that out to the car for you?" When I'm walking down the street, rattling my change in a freaking paper cup, people will drop little pieces of change into my freaking cup. This is like a freaking magic freaking suit. And weakers, tweakers, if you can find yourself an old freaking military officer's freaking outfit, a uniform from the freaking military, put this thing on and don't freaking take it off, because your freaking luck will freaking change. I've never been so freaking happy in my freaking life.
So you stole an officer's uniform and you've been wearing it around town, and people think you're a veteran now?
Well, I think they just see that I'm wearing this freaking uniform. I look so freaking good. Suddenly, I have the respect. I have the freaking. I have the freaking clamor. I have the looks that I have always wanted, and people can see that, and they say, "This guy freaking knows what he's doing." They shake my hand. My meals get comped when I go out to freaking fast food joints. Free coffee, free soda, and it's all thanks to this freaking suit. Yeah. Yeah, so yes.
How many people have thanked you for your service?
People say it all the freaking time, and I say you're I said don't even freaking mention it. You're totally freaking welcome, and don't even mention it. And I do it, and I said I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I have no idea what they're talking about.
Well, congratulations on that. That's great.
Yeah, congratulations on earning the freaking respect that you freaking absolutely freaking have never deserved by impersonating a freaking officer. That's great. Yeah.
Well, I'm not. I'm just wearing the freaking uniform. When I was a child, there was a few kids on my street, and they went to a freaking private school, and they got to wear a freaking uniform, and they fit them perfectly, and they got to wear the same one every day, and it was a white shirt with black pants and black freaking shoes, and I was always so freaking jealous of them because what I basically wore was the same thing I freaking slept in. It was my pajamas.
Well,
and I've always wanted a freaking uniform, and I finally freaking have a uniform. And weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, if you see me out and about, you can go ahead and shake my hand. I can't tell you to shake my hand, but if you feel so inclined, I can't tell you not to either, because this is WAYOLP, freaking worst radio station in the history of the freaking world, Rochester. And you can shake my hand. You can congratulate me. If you feel like giving me a couple of bucks, you can freaking do that. If you see me grabbing a meal and you want to pay for it, go right the freak ahead. I know I look freaking good, and I feel freaking great about it. And that's why I've been in such a freaking good mood all freaking day.
Yep, and, well, that's all that freaking matters, isn't it?
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm so glad that, and it's so nice to finally be freaking appreciated the way that you see your freaking self. Last week, a photo of former New York Yankee Alex Rodriguez sitting on the toilet in the home he shares with wife Jennifer Lopez went viral, according to Yahoo Celebrity. The photo shows Rodriguez sitting on the toilet in his white marbled bathroom, apparently looking at his phone. While the person who took the photo hasn't been publicly identified, the photo was clearly taken from inside the Park Avenue building next door. According to Page 6, that building houses tenants that include the Harbinger Group, Ortelius Capital Partners, and JPM Securities. All companies have declined to freaking comment. Mm-hmm. So this is a story about a guy getting a freaking picture taken of him while he's on a freaking pooper. And, whether he's famous or freaking not, this has happened to freaking everybody out there.
Wait, what do you had somebody's taking a picture of you while you were on the freaking toilet?
This used to freaking happen to me basically almost every freaking day. And when I went to freaking high school, every time I would go to the bathroom, there was a group of kids, and there was at least one of them in every single classroom of mine. And they would say, teacher, I actually have to go to the bathroom too. Can I go? And I would try to rush there with my freaking bathroom pass. They would be right after me. And yes, they would kick down the freaking door and snap a picture of me while I'm sitting on the freaking toilet, John, and I'm dropping absolute complete filth into the freaking toilet, filling the bowl with just the largest amount of absolute freaking brown filth, the messiest, liquefied. It's basically just the filthiest freaking thing you'd ever freaking think of. And they would take a freaking picture of me, and it was back then it was freaking Polaroid cameras, not freaking cell phones, and they would freaking blow them up, and I would walk out of my freaking, I'd walk out to the bus, and yep, you guessed it, there'd be a freaking banner of me freaking on the toilet, and they'd have a different photo for every freaking day of the week. Mm. And then they'd also put it in freaking lockers. They'd tape them to the freaking walls, and you know what? And I went to the freaking principal's office, and he just freaking laughed at me. He said he thought it was freaking hilarious.
And this is something that you think happens to everybody?
Everybody's had this freaking happen to them at one point in their life. Maybe not every freaking day. And one of the pictures, I was freaking touching and playing with myself. So A-Rod, my freaking advice to you, freaking buck up and celebrate your body, celebrate your bodily functions, celebrate your feces here with our Week in Review, and go ahead and call 513-914-6201. That's a freaking Our Week hotline, and we'll play your freaking message on the air.
And the bully in your school you mentioned that did this to you, his name was freaking Toilet John?
No, I was sitting on a freaking toilet, John. There was a whole group of freaking bullies in my school, and everybody that went to my school knew they were the freaking worst, and they only freaking targeted me, and it was It was a majority of the students, actually. They said they seemed to have a freaking coalition against me, and weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers. It was a difficult freaking time for me.
You know, this really isn't a problem in the sex dungeon that I'm staying in because there's only one toilet and it's in the middle of the room, so there's no walls, and everybody takes photos of whoever's sitting there. So it's, you know, I don't know what, if A-Rod is upset about this, he shouldn't be. He should just spend some time in a sex dungeon.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Last week, news broke that a student in Texas is planning a prom for special needs students who might not be able to attend the traditional formals, according to Yahoo Lifestyles. Graduating senior at Richardson High School, Kennedy Bentley says that the rising average cost to attend such events make prom exclusive to those who cannot afford the hefty sum. Bentley says that the cost may be too extravagant for families dealing with the medical bills associated with impairments or disabilities. Bentley is currently raising funds with the help of her local Interact Club, a branch of Rotary Interact, to plan a special prom for anyone left out of their freaking traditional one. So weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, I don't know if we have a lot of freaking prom goers out there. I hope we freaking do. And if you're going, and you don't have a freaking date, you can always freaking ask Taylor the freaking Sandman Lofton. But weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, and the panel, what was your freaking prom like? And would you freaking revisit it? Would you go to freaking Bentley's freaking Texas freaking you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so I would absolutely go to Bentley's weirdo prom. I want to tell you my prom was fun, and it was, but I don't remember a lot of it. I was very drunk. That was actually the first night that I ever tried hard drugs, MDMA, a little cocaine, and it was the best night of my life, so I'm told.
Yeah.
The thing about somebody with the name freaking Kennedy Bentley is, I mean, that's a name of a freaking villain in a freaking 80s movie, and Kennedy Bentley's freaking father is going to freaking demolish the freaking special needs freaking building in town, and they need to freaking have a dance off to freaking save it. And this movie's freaking hilarious. Kennedy Bentley is a freaking bad guy. He freaking steals the main character's freaking girlfriend, who's a freaking midget, and the main character is freaking a drunk freaking is a drunk, almost freaking midget, and he's trying to freaking save special needs building, and they have to freaking have a dance off and a freaking boat race, and it's called, and it's a freaking hilarious freaking movie. 100 stars. Give us that one a freaking 100 freaking stars.
Yeah, and it's too bad that this is it ends up being a freaking tragedy at the end when the freaking when the school freaking burns down. Actually, everybody's still inside, and Kennedy Bentley ends up getting exactly what he freaking wanted, which was a prom all to himself and his freaking rich friends wearing freaking sweaters and freaking drinking martinis, and then it sort of make a dramatic switch back to a freaking comedy at that point, which is really confusing for everybody. But it's freaking hilarious, and I definitely recommend it. We give it 2 thumbs up here at our week.
A-.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's a perfect score.
Last week, news broke that comedian and host Steve Harvey had 2 of his gigs canceled, according to The Root. Harvey, whose most recent claim to fame was his controversial Miss Universe gaffe, had his talk show canceled. To add insult to injury, Harvey also lost his hosting gig for NBC's Little Big Shots to another personality, thought to be American Idol winner Kelly freaking Clarkson. So the world keeps freaking dumping on freaking Big Teeth Steve Harvey. Geez Louise, down on my knees. The guy looks like a freaking clown. He's freaking hilarious looking, and if I'm sure it won't be long before they put the freaking funniest freak that the world maybe has ever freaking seen back into a suit and tie and on the freaking big screen.
Yeah, there's no freaking reason why Steve Harvey should be freaking losing any freaking job. Steve Harvey, for wiggers and twiggers who aren't familiar, he's honestly just the freaking funniest, craziest freaking lunatic, and it just makes me so freaking happy every single time I see that there are still people that are willing to freaking put this mental freaking patient on TV in front of freaking cameras, and not freaking drunk.
Well, and one of my favorite things that freaking Steve Harvey does is at the climax of every one of his freaking comedy sets, he brings out a big freaking hilarious freaking watermelon and a freaking sledgehammer, and he puts the watermelon on a freaking table, and yep, you guessed it, he smashes that freaking watermelon with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And it's freaking hilarious, and it's classy. He gets freaking watermelon all over his suit, and geez Louise, down on my knees. More freaking power to him. I don't know what he has against watermelons, though.
Well, so the good news is that he can still keep smashing watermelons and making out with hot older women on the Family Feud, which I think he still does host. So it's not all bad news for him.
And I love when he goes, "You should see what I did to the watermelon freaking backstage."
Yeah, he goes, "These holes weren't in there originally." Yeah, because he puts his freaking dick in it and he fucks it.
Right.
And Steve Harvey, if you're out there, bring one of your freaking filled freaking watermelons into the freaking Our Week show. Jeez Louise, down on my knees. We'd love to see you smash it and get it all over our freaking face and into our mustaches and around our freaking eyes and mouth. Last week, Chick-fil-A's history of supporting anti-LGBTQ position resurfaced when the head of the company's charitable branch said the organization does not intend to stop donating to groups with a history of LGBTQ discrimination, according to the Huffington Post. The Georgia-based company has drawn criticism over its donations to the anti-LGBTQ organizations. TAC documents indicate large donations to groups known to discriminate against the queer community, including the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, the Salvation Army, and the Paul Anderson Youth Group. Chick-fil-A said it has since stopped donating to the latter organization after learning of its strict policy against same-sex marriage. Recently, 2 airports, one located in San Antonio, the other in Buffalo, have banned Chick-fil-A from opening on their premises. San Jose, California said it would allow a location at its airports if the company encourages hiring LGBTQ employees and if LGBTQ flags are hoisted at the airport to counter queer discrimination.
So I don't mean to keep beating a dead horse, but this story confuses me because there is a Chick-fil-A in the sex dungeon that I'm staying at, and that there's a lot of LGBTQ stuff going on here.
Oh
Yeah.
So I'm just confused. I'm confused by that.
What the freaking heck does LGBTQ even freaking stand for?
It stands for it stands for freaking lesbian and gay and freaking bisexual.
What the heck is the freaking? Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What was it? Freaking bisexual. What were you gonna say?
It's well, I don't.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to freaking interrupt you. What was it? What does the B stand for?
Stands for and it stands for and transgender and queens.
I didn't catch what the B was.
And I said and transgender and freaking queens. A queen, for weakers and tweakers out there who don't know what a freaking queen is, a queen, it used to be that a queen was someone who lived in a freaking palace surrounded by rubies and jewels and all sorts of treasures and ate freaking cake constantly, all the freaking time, breakfast, lunch, freaking dinner, and wore a freaking crown on her head and gave her freaking body to the king. But a queen now is something to be freaking proud of. A queen these days is a freaking gay man who dresses up with crazy looking freaking makeup and hair all over the freaking place, usually a freaking wig, puts pads or gets surgery in their freaking behind, makes themselves have a nice luscious freaking behind, and giant freaking padded breasts or fake freaking breasts, and geez Louise, down on my knees, some of them are so freaking high, I would never even freaking know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my feeling on this is that Doug Jordan, the reason that you are not getting your freaking funds, Tadia, for the sex dungeon is because Doug Jordan, and I'm sorry, this is all coming out on the air right now. Doug Jordan is trying to secretly siphoning the funds off of your cancer research, and that's supposed to go to you at the sex dungeon. to buy this operation, this Queen operation. Yeah, you guessed it, for freaking Sanjay.
Oh my God, I can't believe this is all coming out on the air.
Yeah, this is classic freaking Dutch Jordan. Jeez Louise. This is a gift to his freaking, this is when he's finally gonna freaking leave his freaking wife, freaking for soon.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm just, if I can say something about that, I'm really upset that this is all coming out in the air with Dunk. Dunk, if you're listening, you should know better than that and put up your dukes.
Yeah. Dutch, if you're freaking listening, freaking put up your freaking dukes. If they have freaking radio in freaking hell, where you're freaking making love to your freaking boyfriend right now, and freaking listening to the freaking radio, you go out and you freaking put up your freaking dukes, because I'm on my freaking way.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I could see there being a slight twist in the story where it turns out Doug Jordan is actually getting the operation for himself, turning himself into Mrs. Doug Jordan, the one that I think is so freaking hot, and then I go to have sex with his wife, and it turns out it's actually him.
Right.
And I get him freaking pregnant. But at that point, he's a her, and then Doug Jordan Jr. becomes my freaking stepson. This is all what I'm thinking about right now.
Right, and if Doug survives his airplane crash and then our ensuing fight, I would love to see a Dunk Jordan Queen pornography.
Yeah.
And Taylor, right now, what you said you're thinking about having sex with Dutch Jordan right now.
Well, I'm thinking about getting freaking bamboozled into accidentally having sex with him. Because I'm thinking because then he gets the operation to look exactly like his freaking wife, which is most likely the situation that he would be doing. Because his wife is beautiful, busty, big chest. Jeez Louise, they're down to her freaking knees. And then the next thing I freaking know, I got her freaking pregnant, and it turns out, and then he goes, and then she goes, and by the way, I just want you to know, Taylor, I'm actually Doug.
I can't believe this.
Yeah, I can't believe this is freaking happening. I can't believe this is freaking. Jeez Louise, this is huge.
Yeah.
You have in this freaking scenario, you have freaking sex with Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
how does freaking Sunjay feel about this too?
He's freaking terribly. He's overcome with jealousy, and he tries to freaking kill me, but I ended up freaking killing him because I've been freaking planning for a long freaking time.
Yeah.
And then Sunjay ends up in the freaking early grave, and then freaking Doug Jordan, she goes to freaking jail for Sunjay's freaking murder. And I gotta raise the freaking kid. And I gotta raise the kid, and then that's when I get the freaking wife. And then I actually end up marrying the freaking Mrs. Doug Jordan, and we live happily ever after. But then I freaking find out at the end that freaking
she went to freaking jail, and it's actually freaking Doug, and you've been having sex with freaking Doug for years.
Yeah, that it's actually freaking, and then at the end I find out it's still Doug Jordan.
At that point, you have to freaking stay with him.
Freaking trick me again. Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers. Those of you who miss freaking Mike Doug Jordan, guess where he is? Yes, you guessed it. He is on a freaking sex romp tour of freaking Italy. Touring all the freaking tasty shrimps, mostly Sanjay's. And geez Louise, down on my knees. We all wish him well and back soon because he's got to get back on the show so he can do freaking sports desk, which we've had to put on freaking hold. Last week, a comedian and co-founder of the world-famous Comedy Store, Sammy Shore, died at 92, according to Fox News. Shore's storied 7-decade career saw many accomplishments, including doing stand-up with Shecky Green and opening for Elvis Presley during his comeback tour. The comedian died at his home in Las Vegas. His only regret was fathering comedian and actor Pauly freaking Shore.
Yeah. I freaking love freaking Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore is absolutely freaking hilarious. I think it's
didn't you freaking tell me at one point that you had a similar when you were a freaking teenager, you thought you found a freaking caveman freaking in the freaking ice like in freaking Encino Man?
I have a couple of connections to freaking Pauly Shore. Yes, I did find a freaking caveman in the ice, just like in freaking Encino Man. I tried to bring him home, and I was actually around 14 years old. I brought him home and tried to thaw him out, and he actually did freaking thaw out. And then my mother said, "You got to get that freaking homeless man out of my freaking house."
Right. Yeah.
And then what I did was, and for Weakers and Tweakers out there, I've always had a great reverence for freaking homeless people. What I did was I stashed him in my freaking garage, and while I was stashing him in the freaking garage, he was stashing his freaking urine all over the freaking house, and then freaking blaming it on me, and some of it actually was me.
So you were peeing in the house and then blaming a homeless man.
Who you thought was a caveman, but it was actually just a cold homeless person.
Well, when I freaking, first of all, he's wearing freaking rags. And then second of all, when you strip him down next to nothing, how can you tell a freaking caveman from a freaking homeless man? You know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, one of them doesn't exist.
Well, either way, all's well that ends well on that one. The other thing freaking Pauly Shore stole from me was that I actually came up with a freaking weasel. I came up with that when I was a freaking kid. I used to do that face all the time when I was all by myself, and I should have showed it to somebody because it was freaking hilarious. And I wish people could have freaking seen it because it was freaking hilarious. And I basically made my face look like a freaking weasel, and then I would do the same freaking voice that Pauly Shore was, and I'm pretty sure I did it first.
Yeah, there's not a freaking doubt in my mind that isn't freaking true.
I'm going to miss Pauly Shore.
Yeah, rest in peace, Pauly.
Yeah, if any fans of Pauly Shore would care to call in and comment on his untimely freaking death after freaking doing the Elvis tour, go ahead and call 513-914-6201, and we'll try to get you on the freaking air. In memoriam, Pauly Shore, rest in freaking peace, and geez Louise, rest in freaking penis.
This is all for you, freaking Pauly. Rest in freaking penis.
Yeah. Last week, Austria's Minister for Sustainability and Tourism, Elisabeth Kostinger, released an official statement warning people against kissing cows, according to the Huffington Post. The Kiss Challenge, launched on a Swiss app called Castle, urges users in Switzerland, Australia, and other German-speaking countries to kiss cows, with or without tongue, to raise charity funds, according to Agence French Press. Kostinger called the challenge dangerous mischief. She warned that pastures are not petting zoos, and trying to kiss cows could have some serious freaking consequences.
Oh my God.
Yeah, listen, Kostinger.
I can't believe freaking Doug Jordan isn't freaking here for this.
Well, here's what I was thinking: is it's oddly convenient that somewhere in Europe people start kissing cows, and all of a sudden Doug Jordan goes on a romp over to Italy, or probably Austria. Have we double checked that he's in Italy?
Yeah, that's true. It could be freaking Doug Jordan. Also, although I feel like if Doug Jordan were to do this, he would say, you feel free to kiss them on the mouth, with the tongue, on the penis, in the butt. Feel free not to kiss them at all and just have sex with them.
Yeah, feel free to freaking suck their balls. Suck their dicks. Fuck them.
Geez Louise, down on my freaking knees. It's the absolute freaking truth of it. Doug Jordan, and I wish he were here so that we could freaking berate him in front of him and watch him freaking squirm and squeal, just the way that he makes freaking all sorts of farm animals feel. But the thing is, Doug Jordan does have freaking sex with farm animals, and that has been confirmed. That was one of the earlier freaking investigations we did here, and yeah, it was a 4-star rated investigation, 4 out of 5 stars.
Oh, freaking herpes too.
Yeah. Last week, Game of Thrones star Sophie Turner opened up about the impact extreme dieting and calorie counting had on her body, according to Harper's Bazaar. In a new interview with Sunday Times, Turner revealed that one of the more serious side effects of her diet meant that she didn't have her period for a year. The actress also revealed that social media had a huge impact on her well-being, as other people's comments about her appearance were inescapable. I was too aware of my body at a young age, she told the Sunday Times. Turner continued, "It just kind of took over my mind. It was all I would think about. Calorie counting, everything. Oh, I'll just eat nuts today." She also credits her now husband, Joe Jonas, with helping her overcome her health issues. I bet that's something freaking Joe Jonas freaking regrets now. Cat's out of the bag. Once a freaking month, for a freaking full week. She's probably freaking insane, and then plus there's a freaking mess everywhere.
And the thing about it is that the freaking period blood isn't stopping freaking Joe Jonas, freaking stud that he is, from freaking doing what needs to be freaking done.
Are you saying that Joe Jonas, for weakers and tweakers out there that don't know what a freaking Russian candy cane is, it is one of the more disturbing things that many people can't get freaking past, that certain people really freaking like, Joe Jonas being one of them, of the freaking Jonas brothers. And it is basically when, and I don't know, and I'm sure we can't say this on the freaking air, but we're going to anyhow, when a penis is inserted into a that is on its freaking period, and it's into the afterwards, the freaking man, after he finishes, he goes back down and snacks on it.
Wow. What a difficult time that must have been for Joe Jonas.
He freaking loves it. Yeah. Oh, right.
She did for a whole year. He was denied access to his Russian freaking candy.
Yeah, that's why he's been trying to get her period back.
Yeah, that's why he hasn't been putting out any freaking good music. Is because because they've been withholding the freaking Russian candy cane. Because he's usually freaking great.
He's been too busy trying to make Sophie Turner fat again.
Yeah. Trying to get her fat. Yeah, because she used to be freaking huge.
Probably could have stood to lose a couple of pounds.
Yeah.
Sophie Turner, if you're out there, if you're listening to this, I'm sure you freaking are. Go ahead and call 513-914-6201. We'd love to freaking talk to you about how you deal with being freaking constantly freaking a little overweight, and it's hilarious. Sandy, what were you gonna say?
It is freaking hilarious. I was gonna double down on that. It is freaking hilarious. One of the freaking funniest things I ever freaking heard in my life, actually. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah. Last week, a Florida man was arrested on an indecent exposure charge after he was spotted playing basketball in the nude at a public park, according to the Miami Herald. The incident went down on Sunday at around 7:30 p.m., according to an arrest report from the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. A worker with the Center's Candy Lane Park in Longwood called the authorities after spotting a naked man walking around. Responding officers found Jordan Anderson on the basketball court shooting hoops. When asked why he was in his birthday suit, as per the report, the suspect said that playing basketball without any clothes enhanced his skill level. The 29-year-old unemployed man was arrested on a charge of indecent exposure of sexual organs and taken to the John E. Polk, a correctional facility, on $500 bond. Alcohol and drugs were not involved, said the affidavit.
That last part's a freaking bummer.
I mean, so here's the thing. There are two freaking ways to dribble, okay? And one is with a freaking basketball, and the other one is with your freaking penis. Mm-hmm. And this guy was freaking doing both at once. And geez Louise, down on my freaking knees. There's got to be some sort of freaking record. And this, please, freaking Jordan Anderson should be freaking set free. Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, I can't tell you to take to the streets in the name of freaking Jordan Anderson, the double freaking dribbler. But if I could, and I would, and I basically freaking do, because this guy is freaking innocent. He never did anything freaking wrong. And if I'm the head coach of like the Los Angeles Lakers, I'm hiring this guy on the spot to coach my team, because look at how good LeBron James is at basketball. Can you imagine if he started dribbling with his dick? Unbelievable. It'd be freaking hilarious. And I hear LeBron James has a freaking huge penis. That's just what I freaking hear. It's very big. Yeah,
it's actually freaking confirmed. Yeah. Huge freaking penis.
I mean, the guy's 6'8". He's 235 pounds, and he's got a freaking penis that is the size of a freaking walrus, and it's got a mustache like a walrus.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it funny that
might even be as big as my freaking penis?
Yeah. Isn't it funny that freaking walruses have mustaches? The only animal out there that has a freaking mustache is a freaking walrus.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't there other freaking animals with mustaches?
It's a good freaking question.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's just something I've been thinking about lately, and I've been thinking about how to get a freaking mustache on my cat freaking Donovan. On one of them. I got two, for Weakers and Tweakers out there, it's this long going thing. I have two freaking cats named Donovan.
Well, no, you've got one cat named Donovan and another cat that you stole.
Well, Donovan ran away, and then I found Donovan. He was a skinny little freak. He had been gone for 7 days. He lost a ton of weight, got so stressed out that his long hair fell out, replaced by freaking short hair, and it went freaking white. And Weakers and Tweakers out there know, when you're stressed out, your hair can go gray, it can fall out. And so I found a skinny white cat instead of a freaking large Maine Coon, but it was still Donovan because when I fed him, he would eat the food just the way the freaking Donovan would. And magically, out of the grace of freaking God, yeah, you guessed it, a freaking second Donovan appeared from the freaking past. An earlier freaking Donovan, a unstressed out Donovan who still was a large freaking furry freaking brown and black Maine freaking coon. And now I got two freaking Donovans.
Yeah, I gotta stress again, you stole someone's cat, and your old cat came back.
No. And I just need to get, for Weakers and Tweakers out there, I just want my freaking cat to have a freaking mustache. I think it would be so freaking hilarious. I told someone recently, a listener of the freaking show, that I wouldn't do a freaking story about the freaking grumpy cat that freaking died, but it seems freaking unavoidable. The freaking cat died. And if I could get a freaking mustache on freaking Donovan, I could basically get all the freaking money from freaking Grumpy Cat, all the Grumpy Cat freaking social media freaking money, and the cat could live on an infamy. I would have Mustache Cat, second cat, Mustache Cat.
I think I have a freaking solution to this freaking problem. If you freaking shave one, it doesn't even have to be freaking both of them. You can shave one of your freaking Donovans, except for it's under its freaking nose. I think you have a cat with a freaking mustache.
Yeah.
Well, because
you just gotta shave the freaking cat.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, if you get rid of all of its freaking fur, except for on its freaking nose, you have a freaking cat with a freaking mustache, and you're gonna get that freaking social media money from freaking Grumpy Cat.
Yeah, well, see, prior to this freaking brilliant freaking idea, my freaking solution was gonna be going out and finding a freaking walrus and shaving the freaking mustache off the walrus and putting it on the cat.
Gluing it back on the cat.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a sort of a difficult time freaking finding a freaking walrus, though. I want to know actually what was your plan in finding a freaking walrus? Did you think about it all that much, or?
Yeah, basically what I was thinking was I would charter a freaking fishing boat and take off from the freaking port of freaking Rochester, which for Weakers and Tweakers that aren't from around here, geez Louise, down on my knees, we are at the port of Rochester, which is right on the freaking Lake Ontario. I'd take off, chartering the boat, sea captain and the sea, the way it is always meant to freaking be, just me and the ocean, and I would take off and I wouldn't stop until I found freaking walrus to cut the freaking mustache off.
I have a freaking problem, a pretty big freaking problem with what you're saying, because you know very well you're not allowed down at the freaking Fisherman's Wharf, and you know you are not freaking allowed. And I'm still in contact with a lot of those freaking guys down there. So if you go down there, they'll freaking tell me, and there will be a freaking an issue, because there are people freaking down there that don't want you freaking alive. So don't go down to the freaking wharf.
I'd also be remiss if I didn't point out that the wharf is actually located on Lake Ontario, so you wouldn't be in the ocean, you'd just be in Lake Ontario.
It's essentially the freaking ocean.
Yeah, I don't see any difference between the freaking...
Well,
it's both water.
Giant body of water.
All I need is freaking water and walruses, so it shouldn't be a freaking problem. But I'll try the freaking shaving the cat idea, and geez Louise, Weakers, Tweakers, Thrill Seekers, look out for a new freaking cat, a replacement of Grumpy Cat, mustache freaking cat, coming soon. So I can't tell you to freaking buy any of the merchandise that I will be freaking selling, but look out because freaking Mustache Cat is on its freaking way. Last week, freaking former Walt Disney World employee was with Backstage Access, stole about $14,000 worth of costumes and items from the Magic Kingdom and Epcot theme parks, according to the Associated Press. Patrick Allen Spikes, 24, faces burglary, grand theft, and trafficking in stolen property charges, news outlets reported. The Orange County Sheriff's Office said it began investigating Spikes when he posted a picture on Twitter of a retired animatronic character wearing its clothes 2 months after the reported theft of the robot's garments. Spikes had created a social media platform to post Disney backstage content for movie and theme park aficionados. The stolen items belong to Buzzy, a character from a now-closed Wonders of Life attraction at Epcot, investigators said. The estimated value of the items is more than $6,800. The entire animatronic was later stolen, according to the arrest warrant. So for the panel out there, Sandy and freaking Tadia, I want to ask, if you were to freaking dress up as any one of these freaking characters, any Disney freaking character you could, if you could steal the freaking costume, Sandy I'm sure would fit into plenty of them, which ones would you pick and why would you pick him? And I'm going to go ahead as an icebreaker and say Esmeralda for me. First of all, I have always wanted my freaking ears pierced and big freaking hoop earrings. I love freaking bandanas. I love the loose-fitting trousers and the freaking clasped freaking loafers. So, easy answer for me.
Who's that? Wait, which one is freaking Esmeralda?
She's the freaking prostitute that freaking Hunchback of Notre Dame freaking ends up having sex with, getting her pregnant with his evil little freaking child.
You know, it's so funny you bring that up because my choice was going to be the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but in a twist, I would do it after the church burned down. So I would just be like kind of a burned up hunchback.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd pick one of the freaking seven dwarves. Probably freaking. What is it? Freaking Sneezy. Or freaking Bassful.
I think.
Freaking Doc.
Yeah, there's.
Doper.
Yeah, Blitzen, I think, is one of them. Midgie. You'd probably best go as Midgie.
Yeah, I'd pick freaking Midgie. Even though I think I have a couple of one or two freaking inches on Midgie, but that'd be a good freaking choice.
Yeah. I would if I couldn't be freaking Esmeralda. Other ones I'd pick Homer Simpson. Maybe freaking Cartman would be freaking hilarious.
Also, the fact that this guy's last name is freaking Spikes is really freaking cool.
See, Weakers, Tweakers, Thrill, Freaking Seekers, we have one more segment to go through, and it's a big freaking long one, and yes, you've been waiting for it. It is our week's Sight Unseen Game of Thrones edition. Normally, Sight Unseen is a segment where we compare two movies that we haven't seen back to back, and we tell you which one you should go freaking see. And we do this with a freaking rock solid freaking rating system, and it's always a big freaking hit and a big freaking smash. But this week we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do Game of Thrones, which is an entire freaking series of television freaking shows that's on HB freaking O. And we're going to go over the synopsis. None of us have seen the freaking show, and we're going to go through some of the characters, and we're going to talk about why the show's freaking hilarious and why whether you should see it or freaking not if you haven't freaking watched it all freaking ready. Spoiler alert, we will freaking tell you the freaking ending. Now, set in 7 kingdoms of Westeros and the continent of Essos, the Game of Thrones series chronicles the violent dynastic struggles among the realm's noble families for the Iron freaking Throne. While other families fight for independence from it, it opens with additional threats from the icy north and Essos in the east. I didn't understand a freaking word of that, but let me talk about one of the freaking characters that is most freaking hilarious, and it is, without a doubt, freaking Gendry. Gendry. This freaking guy named Gendry. Gendry. This freaking guy. The story goes like this: the freaking Bannisters and the freaking Lannisters are freaking fighting, and then you got this freaking Gendry, and he's basically a freaking tiny little freaking played by freaking you guessed it, everybody's freaking favorite tiny little freaking ugly little named name a freaking Peter freaking Dinklage, and Peter Peter freaking Dinklage has a freaking sword of destiny, which is basically the only hope for the freaking whole freaking realm, and the realm includes the entire freaking world. So we're all invested in this. And geez Louise, down on my knees, Theon Greyjoy and freaking Beric Donadorian, these two guys, they get a freaking A+ for me when they freaking show up, because they're freaking hilarious, and they're also freaking violent as freaking heck, and they can really freaking kick some freaking butt.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Yeah, no, you go ahead.
Well,
No, you go ahead.
No, please.
All right. No, you go ahead. All right, wait, hang on. I really like. Jeez, the thing, I'm looking at some of these freaking names. Jeez Louise. What in the heck? Daenerys, Targaryen. Freaking hilarious character.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that he's actually the guy that's freaking having sex with his freaking sister, and they show it on freaking air. It's freaking hilarious.
All of it.
Yeah. His sister is freaking Ramsay Bolton. Michael Bolton's little brother. Little sister, I mean. And Gendry, and guess what? And guess freaking what? Gendry is there the whole freaking time. He's watching from behind a freaking curtain, and he's playing with himself. He's making a mess all over the freaking floor and all over the freaking trousers, because this is a freaking magic. This is a freaking show about freaking magic. For weakers and tweakers out there who don't know, it's a show about freaking magical spells and all sorts of things. And yep, you guessed it, freaking Lord Varys, the freaking eunuch, the one bald eunuch, who is freaking bald as his balls are, because he's got no freaking balls at all. Jeez Louise, down on my knees, he puts a spell on Brienne of Tarth and Samwell Tarly Fatty, and freaking Ygritte, and guess what? They all freaking collude together under this evil freaking spell to put another spell on freaking Gendry, so that when he plays with himself, it's just like a freaking waterfall. And the brother and sister nearly freaking drown.
Yeah. And I really liked all of that in this freaking show. What I didn't like though was that the character of Samwell Tarly was originally played by, you guessed it, Fat Jonah Hill. But his work schedule didn't quite work out.
They didn't freaking feed him enough on set, so he freaking quit, because that's part of his freaking contract.
Well,
right.
He knew that basically what would happen, and it was a smart choice by the freaking director. Let's be honest. That fat ass freaking Jonah Hill would just keep freaking eating, and over the show, it took about 13 years to freaking make, even though there's only 8 seasons. They knew by the end of it that there wouldn't be a camera lens freaking wide enough.
Right.
Yeah, it was a freaking. Well, it was a logistical thing.
They couldn't have him in any of the scenes with the dragons because they couldn't make CGI dragons big enough to stand next to Jonah.
Yeah, they don't have the technology to make a dragon fat enough to be fatter than Jonah Hill. So.
Yeah. Well, what they thought was that if they had this dragon and then you see Jonah Hill standing there, you're gonna say, well, what's a big freaking deal?
Yeah. The thing is, like, well,
we have things that size on Earth. It's called freaking Jonah freaking Hill.
Right. What? How are you gonna be scared of a freaking dragon eating you when you got freaking Jonah Hill, who also could freaking eat you if he wanted to?
So why wouldn't they just cast Jonah Hill as the dragon? Is my question.
That's a good freaking question.
Because a dragon is supposed to be able to freaking breathe fire and also be somewhat freaking fit.
Right.
Yeah. Well, a dragon's supposed to fly, and if you're freaking Jonah Hill, you're like that guy's not freaking getting off the ground.
Yeah. That guy's not getting off the ground in the world's biggest airplane.
Right.
He's gonna be stuck in the mud on the freaking tarmac. Yeah. Wheels won't freaking move. No jet engine is big enough to blast him even an inch off the freaking ground.
That's a great point.
Tell me, for weakers and tweakers out there, Sandy and freaking Tadia, how do you feel about freaking Tormund Giantsbane?
I really like when freaking Tormund Giantsbane and freaking Beric Dondarrion. Tormund Giantsbane and Beric Dondarrion. I really like when they freaking have to go march up to the freaking castle, and and the guards will say, "No, you shall not freaking pass," and they freaking bust down the freaking door, and guess what? And guess who's freaking behind the guess who's freaking in there when they freaking get in there?
The brother and freaking Sixer having sex and Gendry freaking
brother,
watching.
Yeah, and he's freaking playing with himself. And guess what? Boom. That's when he freaking finishes, and the freaking waterfall freaking blasts them out the freaking door and into the freaking moat. And Samuel Tarly Fatty, he's freaking there, and he takes a big freaking chomp. He takes a big freaking chomp. The dragon, and then the dragon scoops him up and freaking chomps him.
Yeah, and that's why the dragon lived so freaking long, because he was able to feed off of, yep, you guessed it, Samuel freaking Fatty Tarly, and also freaking with Theon Greyjoy is a freaking excellent freaking job in this movie when he plays a guy named freaking Beric Dondarrion and then the boyfriend to Joffrey Baratheon, and yep, even back in the freaking dark period, yeah, they had freaking gay guys too, and it was not a freaking big deal then. It's not a big freaking deal now. And they should be able to freaking wed on the highest mountain in all of freaking Westeros, and maybe even in Essos in the freaking icy north.
Speaking of some awesome man-on-man love, what did you guys think of the sexual chemistry they had between Jon Snow and Varys, the one bald eunuch?
Yeah, just hot. It's just
Well, when you have a show with so much freaking magic, because this is a show about freaking magic and freaking spells and magic spells, and then when you sort of there's a moment when you're watching the show and you go, well, the magic is between the freaking chemistry, and then you go, but is it even free? Is that even freaking? Is that even? And then you go, well, is the spell freaking cast on me? Because I'm sitting here, I'm freaking getting spell freaking. You just get so freaking. It is just the most freaking. It is what it when you freaking see. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you get freaking hard and horny is what he's trying to say.
You get all freaking. You're right there, and you're freaking.
Yeah. I definitely.
Magic.
I definitely wanted to watch this show, but I was just too horny every time I tried.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, when I freaking think about this freaking show, I am just thinking about it now, and I'm getting so freaking horny. I might have to excuse myself off the radio and take care of it.
I might need to freaking. I think I may need to freaking excuse myself too.
I'm definitely probably gonna have to excuse myself off the.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be thinking about Jorah Mormont and Ygritte and freaking Tormund Giantsbane and Jaime and Sandor Clegane.
Brienne of freaking Tard and freaking Krager Clegane. Yep.
And
they freaking have sex with each other.
Yep, and Garrig Clegane.
And then and you also have freaking Sandor, and he's a freaking master freaking swordsman.
And he's a manipulator too. That's the thing.
Yeah, Sandor Clegane, the freaking manipulator. Yeah, they call him the freaking manipulator, and he's freaking got a magic stone.
Mm-hmm.
That can grant one freaking wish, and you wouldn't freaking believe what the wish, and that's freaking.
Yeah, he wish every single freaking time he has a wish. Guess what he wishes for? Another wish.
Yeah, it's and you go, dude, how they even freaking write this stuff? This is just freaking. And that's the freaking and that's wait until the freaking finale, which happened freaking yesterday.
Yeah, and so for Weakers and Tweakers, we promised a spoiler. We'll give you a freaking spoiler. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is freaking 10 stars. Yep, Lannisters and the Marleys and the freaking Bob Marley freaking wins, or the Jacob Marley freaking wins, and yep, you guessed it, the Lannisters become the freaking kings. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say 10 stars, and this is a freaking must see.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and double down. I'm gonna go ahead and award this one about 50 freaking stars, and 2 thumbs, 1 up, 1 freaking down. And my little freaking spoiler is when the person who gets the freaking magic sword out of the freaking stone. Yep, you guessed it, Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah.
I said we promised a freaking spoiler, and freaking Daenerys Targaryen and Brienne of Tard freaking pull out the freaking stone, and there's a sword at the bottom of it.
Yeah. And guess who's standing there right underneath the freaking stone, playing with himself? Yeah, you freaking guessed it. It's freaking Gendry. It's freaking Gendry. It's freaking Gendry, and he's freaking sitting there, and he's hiding behind a freaking stone the whole freaking time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I give the show an A++, but I do not recommend it. Because they wrote out Jonah Fathill.
Yeah, it would have been hilarious.
Go ahead. Yeah. What's your freaking spoiler?
My spoiler is when Peter Dinklage and Gendry go on a date.
Yeah.
It was one of the funnier episodes of the entire show.
Well, and Peter, and actually what ends up happening with freaking Peter Dinklage is that he uses his freaking magic wand, magic sworded wand, to put a spell on, yep, you guessed it, his tiny little Peter Dinklage, and it starts freaking growing, but he messes the spell up, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's like it's sort of a mashup between Jack and the freaking Beanstalk, and the Emperor's New Freaking Clothes. It's a big freaking mistake. He's dragging around this freaking. It's essentially a freaking size of a freaking redwood tree by the end of the movie that he has to drag around everywhere.
It's the size of a freaking dragon. He becomes the new freaking dragon. His freaking penis. That's a freaking big twist. Another freaking spoiler. Freaking middle freaking Tyrion freaking Brannister character Dinklage his freaking penis. Once he gets the magic wand, they've been searching for the whole freaking show. His freaking penis becomes a freaking dragon. That's a freaking twist. Spoiler alert.
It's like LeBron James sized.
Yeah. And he's trying to hold it down because it sprouts wings and it's trying to fly away, but it still has a normal head of a penis, and it tries to fly away, and he's trying to hold it freaking back, and guess what? He gets airborne, and then you never see him again until he comes back in the next one, season 9.
And Gendry's on the freaking penis dragon and is starting to fly up, and he's going whoa, and falls off, and it's
but before he falls off, he starts playing with himself and.
Yeah.
Freaking ejaculates.
Last freaking spoiler is the thing that nobody saw freaking coming. The person who finally freaking takes this freaking seat at the freaking throne, you guessed it, freaking Dunkirk. He comes out of freaking nowhere. He picks up the freaking magic freaking sword. He freaking stabs everyone through the freaking. He freaking stabs everyone through the head, and he sits down. He sits his freaking rump down on the throne. Turned out it was a freaking Dunkirk show the whole time.
Yeah, and nobody, and that was the big twist that everybody's been talking about, and we're sorry for freaking spoiling it for weakers and tweakers out there. Dunkirk is freaking back, and they held out to the freaking last episode, and then when he gets on the top of the freaking on top of the freaking stone with the sword and the freaking throne and the freaking king hat and the freaking dragon, the giant penis dragon at his freaking feet with a leash, and shortly right behind him is going to be freaking, obviously he's going to be freaking Dinklage. He puts a spell on everybody, turns everybody into a freaking butler.
Yeah, and Gendry's there. He's freaking behind the freaking stone. He's freaking playing with himself.
Really good television.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, really,
10 stars.
Good stuff.
Weakers, tweakers, thrill seekers, this has been another episode of freaking Our Week in Review. Thank you for freaking listening. We are available on freaking Apple Podcasts, also on freaking SoundCloud, also on WAYO, LP freaking Rochester, and Geez Louise, down on my knees. Thank you all for listening. We will hope to see you freaking next week. Tadia, is there room in the freaking sex dungeon for another?
Yeah, there's always room there. I mean, it'll be a tight squeeze for sure, but you can fit you in there.
I don't think you should freaking do that. I don't think that's a good freaking idea for you.
I don't think it's a good idea for you either, but you know what? I'm not going to be the one to stop you.
I'm gonna go ahead and be the one to freaking stop you. I think you can get into a lot of freaking trouble. I think you get even freaking on your freaking life.
What are the freaking meals like?